welcome to the Brand Bridge, the podcast for women entrepreneurs where we talk messaging, identity, faith, mindset, and building a personal brand that reflects who you are without compromise. And I'm so excited today. We're going to be talking about the hidden reasons why entrepreneurs fail. And I have one of my favorite people in the world, one of my besties in the world. Ioni Papadakis is in the building. I'm so
Woo,
happy.
woo.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for being on.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome. I am so happy to be here. I'm so honored to be part of your community, of your podcast. I admire you so much. I mean, we are close friends, and a lot of people don't know our relationship, but I admire you and I love your work. And I'm so honored to be here and supporting you and just having this conversation.
Ye- I'm really excited. I'm really excited. And feelings mutual, of course. That's why I was like, well, you have to be the first ever guest on my podcast.
Thank you.
And so, yeah, so we're going to be talking about this very interesting topic. But before that, why don't you introduce yourself, let people know a little bit about you and what you
You
do?
You know, it's funny because I am looking at you and I feel it is fun introducing myself to you. But of course, your audience does not know me. So, hello, everyone. My name is Ioni Papadakis. I am a business coach, leadership coach, and I also have a social media content creation agency. Social media content creation agency. Yes, that rolls off the tongue. It's so easy. I have been coaching entrepreneurs, over 50 entrepreneurs to date, over the past 6 years, and they are in over 20 different industries. And I come from an operational background, and that is what I do.
Amazing. Love it. And um it's I don't want to go on too much about her history, but I just want to say that friendships, support, networks can really come from anywhere. And we actually met on IG on the Instagram street. So it's really amazing to see like just how far our friendship has come. So
Totally.
people, community can really come from anywhere if you're just willing to be open and chat and share, right? It's so important. So,
Totally.
um I want to know what, because you had some ideas about this topic, about what we're going to talk about, and I'd love to hear from you, like what is on your heart about this particular topic, and why is it mean something to you?
Yeah, I believe that everybody on this whole planet has something to offer. We all have so much hidden potential, and I know you believe that too. We have so much potential, every single human being on this planet, but it takes the right circumstances, sometimes the right people, sometimes the right time or the resources to bring it out and to utilize it. And when it comes to entrepreneurship and business, a lot of people with that potential, they start a business, they start utilizing their God-given talents and gifts, but there are so many different factors that nobody teaches them about that ends up becoming the barrier and the constraint to their success, to their growth, to sharing those God-given talents and gifts. And it hurts my heart seeing talented people, driven people fail or never get to their goal or taking too long to get to their goal because I was once that person. And the reason why I have named my business what I have named it, which is Nine Elephants Consulting, I didn't even share at the beginning. Did I? I don't know. It is because of that pain. It is it's built on pain. It is because I was once that hardworking, talented, other people can call me that, but like I was hardworking, driven, hungry, uh, passionate, visionary to build something. And it was just impossible for me to start for many factors that I was blind to. And I vowed before I started my business that one day when I am ready to help other people, that I will be that person to pull them out of the mud and help them achieve their goals. So that is very personal to me. And that is why talking about the hidden reasons why people and businesses fail is so close to my heart. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you've helped so many people, so many different kinds of people, like you said, different industries, people at different stages in their business, like just needing different help in different ways. And um, so do you have, I think you kind of off stage, kind of mentioned that you have a specific process that you use with your clients in order to kind of help them maybe avoid some of these things or fix them. Can you share a bit of like what that process is?
Yeah. So there is an acronym that I bring to my clients' awareness regarding those hidden reasons as to why businesses and entrepreneurs fail. And I think it's interesting to discuss it. And we can talk about whichever topic you want more of. But the so think of let's first, before I talk about the acronym, why I love this acronym so much is because think of yourself as a lion. When you are in business, you are a lion. If you're not a lion, you cannot accomplish your goals. You cannot move through the internal and the external barriers. So I like to think of a business owner as a lion, and the acronym is SIMBA. so, so SIMBA. And I can
Amazing.
maybe share what it means. Do you want to go through it, or do you want to go through each letter
Yeah,
separately?
why don't you share what each letter is and then we can dive into what they each mean. I
Okay.
love this. I was not expecting
So
that.
think of yourself as a
Amazing.
lion, or a lioness.
Yeah.
So SIMBA essentially stands for S is for support desert. So we can discuss it further for support desert. I is for identity collision. M is for mental load and burnout. B is for busyness versus business. And A is for accountability gap. So that
Oh,
in an essence, if you don't hear the whole podcast, which I think you should stay and listen to all 5 topics that we discuss here, um, this is, in essence, what I see as some of the hidden reasons why businesses fail, why very talented human beings don't accomplish their goals on time. And I know there's a whole notion of it's never too late. True, it's never too late. But there is a time and space where the goals that you have 10 years ago now have expired because you've entered a different season in life, and maybe now you want to have kids, maybe now you want to care for your senior parents, and there is a time and place. There is an expiration time date, I guess. I believe in some of our goals. It doesn't mean you cannot accomplish things, but in terms of specific goals, I believe there is an expiration date.
yeah, I mean, and I think too, like we just want to always be at our best and give our best. And so when there's these things that are blocking us and it's discouraging us, and then we look back and it's like, oh, sometimes people just want that instant, like, all the quick hacks and quick fixes and stuff, and then it doesn't happen. Then we like give up or whatever it is. And we look back and we're like, oh, if I had just taken that step back then, oh, if I had just, like all these wishes that we wished we had done, these should haves. I should have done this, I should have done that. But all kinds of fears, all kinds of things get in our way. But do you find out of those 5 things, is there one in particular that you find
Ah.
is like comes up the most with your clients or that you just see through your clients, through discussions with people? Is there one that kind of stands out in the
Yeah,
top of your
that's
mind?
a really good question. That's a really good question. At the center of everything I do is leadership, and there is a very critical reason for that because there is no business without leadership. You can have strategy, you can have tactics, but at the center of your business is the person. So if the person is not ready, essentially, if the person is not to the level, has not reached the level of growth they need, the business will fail. The business will crumble. So I would say out of the 5 items, maybe the identity collision, maybe the identity, I would say, is one of the biggest constraints. And I also wanted to mention something. You just what did you say? What did you say just before you started? You asked me the 5 questions. Sorry, you asked me the top reason. I wanted to mention a metaphor that I thought it was really funny, but it just the thought just came and left. But um, what did you mention right before?
That there's like hidden, or like there's things that we wish the should-haves,
The should
shoulda, woulda, coulda, didn't,
should have.
like,
It
it's
will
like, oh,
come
I
to you.
should have done that. I should have done
Oh
that.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. That's that. The should have, could have. I'll give you an
Hmm.
example, and that's why I believe there is an expiration date. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I don't even know, maybe 15 or 20 years ago, I was living in a very small apartment in Montreal North, and I had a tiny oven, and I had people over, and I wanted to bake a cake and bake the main dish that we were gonna serve. I don't know, chicken or something. And my oven was so small. And at the time, I was like, I wish I had a pan that had a divider so that I could put both my chicken and the cake. And I remember at the time I researched, I went to Walmart, I went to Super C, none of that. Like it was nothing like that. And I remember I noted it down as a business idea. I was like, oh, maybe I need to produce this. So years pass, I never get to it. And not that long ago, maybe a couple of years ago, I researched on Amazon and there's hundreds of pans with a divider. So all this to say that that idea, like that boat has sailed, you know what I mean? If I had started it 15, 20 years ago, maybe I would have, had a pan empire. But that's what I mean, that some ideas do expire. It doesn't mean that you cannot reinvent yourself. You can reinvent yourself at any point and time in your life. But there's some ideas and goals that do not, like, you don't have you lose the, what do you call that? Not the opportunity, but you lose it's a gift when you get that idea, when you get that creativity, that inspiration. So you end up, the universe, I don't know, ends up leaving you. So I do believe that ideas and some goals expire. So that's where I was getting to with
Yeah.
that
Well,
example.
it's so funny because when I was a kid, it's funny you say that, because when I was a kid, I remember I was at my friend's house. I remember this so specifically. I was at like my best friend's house at that time. And I don't know, we were talking about hair or something like that. And I just, even to this day, it's a bit of a touchy subject, but I just hated getting my hair done. I hated having it blow dry. Now it was just hurt. And I said to myself, I wish there was a blow dryer with a comb attachment or a brush attachment that I could blow dry my hair. And I was like, oh, I guess, and but I was a kid when I thought this. And
Yeah,
how
we know where
how
we're at now.
how how many are there? So, yeah, I think that it's like almost when you don't jump at the opportunity to do something that you have on your heart to do, it kind of like it will be done, but maybe it won't be done by you.
Yeah,
Maybe it'll
yeah.
go to somebody else who had the inclination to jump and do it. And I think it's really interesting you're saying about identity too, because we talk a lot about identity here. It's something I also help my clients with, and it's like when and it kind of goes along with what we're saying now. It's like when you know who you are, who you've been created to be, who you're becoming, you get like a type of boldness. You get a type of like ambition. I think we talked about this briefly before, but like when you feel aligned, there's like a certain type of ambition that comes with that, because it's like, oh, wait, I can actually do this. I've been equipped to do this. I have the
Mhm.
tools to do this. And I'm going to go. Now I can go because now I can see where I'm going and how I'm going and all those things. And so it's interesting that you're saying that um it's like the identity piece, the piece about like the faith that you have, the belief that you have that you can accomplish something is a hindrance. So that's really
Mhm.
interesting that you're saying that.
Yeah, yeah. It is. Business is not strategy, is not tactics. If it was only about strategy and tactics, identical businesses, which is the exact same example I tell to all my clients, we have identical businesses. And why identical businesses fail, it's not because the product isn't good, it's not because there is no need in the market, it's not because they're not doing email marketing, ads. It's because of the founder. The founder is the break or make it. And if the founder's identity is not refined, is not cultivated to at a level that the business requires, the business will not be able to survive, or sometimes will not even be able to take off. And a common, I would say, a common struggle at the very beginning, and tell me if you have seen this with your own clients. A common struggle at the very beginning of starting entrepreneurs is confusing the business as themselves, especially in the service-based businesses. Artists, they have their product is what? Their music, their songs. Service-based providers, massage therapists, their product is what? Their service. They're literally providing service with their hands. Coaches, social media managers, and so on and so forth. So, because the service is almost like a part of them, because it's their skill, it's their talent manifested in some type of solution for someone, and it's not a separate standalone product, they often, service providers often confuse that business, which is part of themselves, their skill, confuse it with their worth. So when they have a bad day, when they have a bad month, when they're failing, they have a bad pitch. You know what happened a couple of days ago with me? When they have a bad pitch, they end up self-identifying with that failure. Whereas the seasoned, the experienced, the successful, the long lasting business owner knows that the business is a separate entity, is a separate living and breathing organism from them. Because they're actually much more than the business. The business is only one aspect of them. It's only that one specific particular skill of their whole multifaceted psyche and self. And the experienced entrepreneur knows how to detach, knows how to distinguish the two. And just like a parent with a child, they do not, I mean, maybe that's not the best example. I'm not a parent, but I think a parent with a child that, let's say the child fails. Yes, maybe I understand that the parent might take that blame and the guilt, but at the end of the day, when the child has become an adult, that adult is responsible for themselves. And the business, yes, they have the guardian, which is the business owner, but the business also is affected by your market. It is affected by so many other external factors. And if you don't learn to distinguish the two, it is 100% sure you will fail. It is 100% sure you will fail. Like, both in my 6 years of experience with entrepreneurs and before in my decade plus long experience coaching uh, individuals and leaders, as soon as you mix the two, your product with yourself, you're done. And I want to bring awareness to talented people because I want to see more change in the world. And we all have, your audience has so much magic in them, so much incredible gifts in you. And if you don't get to bring it to the world and help other people, we are all being deprived of that gift because you either fail to learn to distinguish your business from yourself, or because you don't want to, because your ego is hurt, or because you've been taught to identify with your craft.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, I'm raising I'm raising my hand because this was me, like, when I first started my business, 100%, and so much insecurity, so much, roller coaster of emotion, and I did tie it to my business because it's like, "Oh, I'm doing well. Oh, yay, I did good. Oh, I'm not doing well. Oh, no, what did like, I'm dumb, I'm this, I made a mistake, or why did I do that?" Like, and you blame yourself, and then, you're just like on this roller coaster because your your emotions and who you think you are is really, like you're saying, it's tied to the outcome. instead of being like, oh, well, yeah, this didn't work, but it's okay. I'm going to try this. And guess what? I learned what not to do now. Like
Yeah.
things that, like you're saying, things that we literally tell kids. It's like, it's okay to fail. That's how you learn. It's okay to make mistakes. That's how you learn. But then when it comes to us, for some reason, we don't give ourselves the same grace.
Mm.
It's like, no, we should know better, or we're this or we're that. And to your point too about the ego, it's like that thing is like, that thing's ruthless. Like, it's like you can just get lost in what you think you should be instead of just embracing who you are, where you are, and meeting
Mhm.
yourself where you are, and then
Mhm.
just taking yourself and growing from there. So
And
yeah, that's super interesting. Yeah.
I want to add, because I feel even when when you're describing and you're sharing about your experience, it's it is there's a reason for that, because even same as same here. I have been affected and I have let failure or um mishaps affect me. And there is a very practical and pragmatic reason. And it actually alludes to another element of my acronym, and it has to do with support. And most business owners, I'm talking majority of business owners, come from a solo individual background. They were solo contributors at some job. They were, employee at some business. Most business owners. And you now come from an environment, you leave an environment that has structure and that has accountability, and you have there a boss, right? You have colleagues, you have administrators, you have an HR department, you have people who are carrying the load of decision making, the load of responsibility. You have people to vent and share your frustrations. So you leave that environment of support, literally support, whether it's good or bad, there's some kind of support. And then you're moving into wearing all the hats. You are the operator, you are the visionary. And now you expect really to deal with it, all of it by yourself. And most of us, and I have fallen victim to it, but especially newer entrepreneurs, um, they believe in this illusion that, yeah, I'm gonna be able to carry all that load by myself. You can't. You still have to instill some type of support that mimics the support you left. Whether you worked at a big conglomerate or a small local business, you have to mimic and you have to create those mechanisms on those systems to replace the environment you left. And if you don't, that's when you're destabilized, and that's when you fall into that trap of mixing your identity and who you are with your business's success or failure, because you don't have that support. You are the person who decides whether or not to run ads, and you are the same person who decides what am I going to cook for dinner. Like, you're making hundreds of micro decisions in a span of 24 hours, while also trying to care for yourself, while also trying to be your own therapist, while also trying to be the service provider, while also trying to be your HR department and trying to make hiring or purchasing decisions, which software to subscribe for my email list. Like, you're all the departments, right? And
Yeah.
what do we think we are? Like, who do you think you are? Yeah, right? And that's another letter of our SIMBA acronym, and that is the support desert. You enter the support desert, self-inflicted, or due to lack of awareness, or due to shame, because we feel shame. We think
Mm,
that I should do it myself. I'm a badass boss babe. That's how they do it online.
yeah.
So yeah, it could be
Yeah.
self-inflicted or lack of awareness.
Yeah, it's so true because I think that, and I was talking to someone about this too recently, that there's like this glamorization as well of being an entrepreneur where it's like you get to make your own schedule, you get to be a lady at lunches, you can be on the beach, you can be here and there. And it's like, yeah, but bro, like when I was in my 9 to 5, that was my day with support, like you're saying, with the accountability, with other people, getting the clients, getting this, getting the water for the for the water cooler, all of these things. And then we start our entrepreneurship journey and we think, oh, yay, this is amazing. I'm going to make my own schedule. And then you're getting no sleep. You're doing this, doing that, making decisions, changing the CRM, changing the email marketing, changing like everything 2 seconds because it's like, "Oh, maybe this one's better, maybe that one's better." And so but it's so true, like the support and when you said it just now, I'm like, that was yeah, that's the thing. And that's when what I see too, just like from networking, from different groups, it's like people are always saying the same thing. It's like, is there anywhere where I can, kind of find support? Is there like everyone's like kind of lonely. It's like a
Mhm.
lonely journey. And so when you don't have, people that you feel safe with, that you trust, that you can open up with, or at least just go and co-work with or something like to feel
Mhm.
like, okay, I have something, I have a community that understands and gets me because a lot of entrepreneurs too, they start off on the journey not having anyone around them who has done the same. So it's like all the 9 to 5ers are looking at you like, "Oh, why did you do that?" Or "How's your little job?" Or "Your little business?" Or whatever they're saying, and it's just like, wow, like zero support now,
Yeah.
you know?
And you
So it's
alluded
really
to
interesting.
support versus the right support too.
Mm,
Yeah. And it is
yeah.
instinctive to us, like you mentioned, it is instinctive to most of us to search for that support, to search for that community. And I think it takes time and years in the game to then realize that you don't necessarily want to be around everyone, because that's also sometimes doesn't help you. It distracts you or it demotivates you, because it's not just about, yeah, I can be in the room with my auntie and my cousin who are doing the 9 to 5 and they're asking me, how's your little job doing? Oh, is that really work? Is that really work? Right. But it's not about just in support. Like you mentioned, it's also like about the right support. And that's another, I guess, facet of support. And then in time, you're figuring out what is the right support. And if I were to summarize it, um, same conversations I have with my clients, like look for cheerleaders instead of challengers. And that's not
Mm,
to avoid people who give you feedback or who challenge your thinking. That is people who are challenging what you're doing as a challenging, I guess, even the reason for existing as a business. You don't want that. Like, you have made a decision to build a dream, to build this goal. Now it's you don't need anybody to cut off your wings. So cheerleaders over challengers in a nutshell.
mm.
And I guess
Yeah.
not yes people, not the yes people, but also not the toxic, nah, like that's not gonna work. But also you want the
Yeah.
good friend who's gonna tell you, hey, right now you're trying to do a bit of everything. Maybe you need to focus. Like that was a good real that was a good effort, Ioni, of your pitch, but maybe you need to work maybe you need to work on your anxiety. Speaking of my incident, which
Yeah.
it's a perfect
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a it's true. You do need those people, but like you said, like the person you can take it from that it's genuine and
Yeah,
that they actually have your best interest
yeah.
at heart. Um I want to talk about the other letters too. So we did S, we did I.
Oh,
Um
okay, we didn't do them in order, but that's funny. SI, yeah.
e-
Okay.
we did S, we did I and then we did S. Let's talk about M. M
Mhm.
was yeah. Mm,
Can before we go on M and B and A, I think it is worth kind of completing the topic, the chapter on I, which is the identity. And I think
mhm.
I would like to give an example, and that is an example that I just went through, and you were a an observer, and I think it would be worth for whoever is listening because I'm also
Yeah.
living and I have lived things that I teach. It's not just theory. It's not just um yeah, it's not just theory. So in regards to the identity collision, one of our hidden reasons why businesses fail, is the mixing of what your business does, your value of your business with yourself. And a perfect example is what happened a couple of days ago. So for the audience and who people who don't know, I signed up. We're part of a group here in Montreal, and I signed up to do a pitch, a 60-second pitch. So that 60-second pitch was supposed to be me talking about my brand, because I have been a bit hidden over the past couple of years, and which is another reason why I'm so grateful for having me on your podcast. I've been a bit hidden off the spotlight, and that was in my head my opportunity to talk about my brand in those 60 seconds. And I was one of the finalists, and I 100% bombed it. What happened is I got on stage and I froze. We have what? We had 50, 50, 55, 60 people. So it
Mm.
isn't a significant crowd. It's not
Yeah.
just 3 people and it's not 3,000, but it's a significant crowd. So I literally picked up the mic. I started sharing the first few words of my pitch, and then I completely froze. I legit drew a blank, and I literally felt like I was eating my heartbeat, and I saw you from afar. I don't know if you were recording me or you had raised one of the timing sheets, and I literally wanted Earth to open up and swallow me. I was like, I don't know what I'm saying. I don't
Yeah.
know who I am. I don't know what I do. I don't know what I'm doing up here. I felt so embarrassed. Also, because I'm a
Mm.
tall individual, I felt just like I wanted to hide. I really felt so embarrassed, so disappointed. The 60 seconds go up. The host comes up to me, hugs me, and I felt even more embarrassed. Although she had the best intention, and I was so thankful that she did that. But I felt even more embarrassed because I felt pitied. So, as I was walking back, trying to hide in the darkest spot in the room, which was behind you, I tried to find a chair in a safe spot. I, no joke, was holding back tears. I had the biggest knot, and in that single moment, the thought that crossed my mind is, excuse my language for your audience, you can beat me after. I said, we end doing this. I tried to talk to myself like I would talk to a client. I wouldn't talk to a
Mm.
client like that. You would be respected. uh, I said, no, no, we ain't doing this. I really tried so hard not to cry. I tried so hard not to like wait, get up and leave. I wanted to get up and leave. And I said, absolutely the F not.
Mm.
This is part of the game. And this is not me. This is the business. I was a spokesperson for the business. Ioni knows how to articulate her thoughts. Ioni can communicate. Ioni can speak. But the spokesperson of this business, the PR manager who showed up on this pitch night, sucked. She needs to get fired or trained. So it was really, really tough. It was really tough. Like I
Mm.
legit held back tears. I had the biggest knot in my throat. And at the same time, I forced myself to smile at every single other speaker who got up on stage and forget about myself and get myself out of my butt and keep reminding myself with internal self-talk, this is not about me. This is not about me. This is not about me. What
Yeah.
happened is not about me. This is the business. And the business right now needs practice. And that's the reality of things. I have not done pitches in a long time. So am I do I suck as a person? Maybe I do, I don't know. But I don't think so. The business
No.
in that time point in time just needs more training. And the truth of the matter is that I have been a ghost over the past 2 years. So no wonder I would freeze in front of 50 people. So we need to do work. And I just wanted to share this to say that I'm not what's the word? I'm not immune to what I share, and it's real, but we just have to learn eventually to self-coach, self-manage, self-lead our thoughts. As soon as we're aware of what the bottlenecks are in the business, once we're aware, that's the first step. Now we can learn to practice that muscle to self-lead our internal dialogue to translate into the right behaviors so that you don't bomb and extinguish your business. And that's the work. That's the work. And that's why identity is the biggest work. the biggest break or make of the breakup. I
Yeah,
want to
it's
share this story. I thought it
huge.
would be
I mean, thank you for sharing and for being vulnerable because a lot of people wouldn't share, but I think that it's such a great just lesson and a real actual tangible thing that happened that other people can relate to. I think well everyone can relate to a moment where it was just like, man, like why?
Mhm.
Why?
Yeah.
Everyone has that moment. And I think it's so amazing that you're sharing that because too many times we see the highlight reel, right? Of
Yeah.
what went right, what went right, what went right. But it's like, no, there's also another side of this that also happens. That's also part of it. And I'm so thankful that
Yeah.
you shared that because there's going to be people who would be like, oh, that happened to me
Yeah.
or
And
XYZ happened to me.
and you know what? Part of our conversation of support, I know we need to talk about the letters, but it's part of like if, for example, you gave me the space in our conversation after that pitch, that moment that I wanted for it to disappear. It was basically the example of what not to pitch and how not to pitch. But after that debacle, um, you created that safe space for me. You were there to listen. I felt comfortable. It was safe, and it speaks to having support and the right support. So for me, you were that refuge, let's call it. It's literally a refuge. Well, I felt that tension that I had and that pain that I had just by sharing my embarrassment and shame. It was released. And it was as if I had that colleague in the office over the water cooler moment where you just vent. And that's what we need in entrepreneurship. We need to
Mhm.
build the right circle. And in that moment, and in many other moments, you have been that person for me, and I'm so grateful. And if you're not working with Melissa, I don't know what you're doing. FYI, I'm just saying. I just need to say this unbiased, because she has helped me a lot with so many different aspects. And please allow me to also say that it's not just also about the tactical support that you're going to receive from Melissa, the frameworks, the strategy, the implementation, the execution, all those things, but it's also what you, for example, bring to the table to your clients, which is an and incredible caring eye, shoulder, nature. You are there. You know you're safe when you work with you. We know you're safe when you work with you. So, yeah, and thank you so much. And that's why we're able to talk about this now because I was able to release it that night. Yeah.
Oh, well, first of all, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Wasn't expecting that, but vice versa, like same, like for you, for me, it's like I spend so much of my life not feeling like I could share, not having a voice, not feeling comfortable. And you've been that person for me too. And vice versa, like
Love
me,
you.
okay, but you, you are smart, you are tactical, you have all, like, it's just you, when you're with Ioni, it's like everything that in your mind you're like, wait, what? You have a way of just synthesizing things, and it's like, oh, wait, I can do this, I can do that. I didn't even think about that. And you come with such a clear perspective, and you just like reflect back to people, and it's like, oh,
Disclaimer,
what?
disclaimer, nobody's paying each other. There's no ads,
Yeah.
no affiliate marketing. Yeah,
I'll send you the
yeah,
Stripe
yeah.
payment after. Um, but yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's
thank
it.
you. And as you can see, even to your point, it's like this is like real true support. It's like, no, you got to work with her. No, you got to work with her, and
Yeah,
it's genuine. It's like we actually mean it.
yeah.
Um
Yeah. Okay,
but
the
yeah,
letter,
let's move.
the
So
letter.
yeah, let's move on. What should we do? Should we just go continue in order then at this
Yeah,
point?
yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah, so yeah, cool.
Let's do a
M.
recap. So SIMBA stands for S for support desert, I for identity collision, M for mental load and burnout, B stands for busyness versus business, and A accountability gap. So we covered S and I. M mental load and burnout. We all know
Cool.
burnout. We all know burnout.
Yay.
We all know burnout.
Yay.
But the angle that we don't know and we don't speak about a lot is the burnout, not as a cause of overworking yourself, but as a cause of overexhaustion due to uncertainty. And there is a lot of
Mm,
uncertainty as a starting entrepreneur and also as a seasoned entrepreneur. So the burnout is an exhaustion due to uncertainty. And high performers can deal with burnouts because they are used to the chaos and they're used to navigating fast-paced environments and massive loads of work. So that's like the very common burnout. The burnout that I'm referring to, also that burnout, but the hidden reason is people underestimating the impact of uncertainty in their business and their life. And an example of uncertainty would be, when will my next client come in? Where would it come from? And another example of uncertainty is, what is the best tactic for my branding, for my marketing, for my sales? And there's uncertainty, and you are spinning your wheels. And then we have that leads into um, what is it called, the shiny object syndrome, and
mm-hmm.
wasting your life the next few years or sometimes months to years YouTubing, getting freebies, trying to figure out, doing everything and anything. So
Yeah.
uncertainty, the exhaustion of uncertainty is a massive factor of failure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, even as you're talking about it, I'm just thinking of all the times that I've just like been you nailed it. You just nailed it with like shiny object syndrome. Like, what? This is like this is my go-to
Mhm.
method, I would say. It's like,
All of
oh
us.
wait, I could do that. Oh wait, I should try that. I should do this. And I had to say myself just recently, I had to say, Mel, just wow, pick something that aligns with how you work and where you are in the season and do that. And
Mhm.
give yourself grace to actually see it through and see if it works, like give it a chance. So, yeah, it's so true that mental load of uncertainty, plus, like you mentioned before too, all the like decision fatigue that goes with that, because it's not just what's happening with business, but in your life too.
Mhm.
The whoever, the friend that you haven't seen for a while that's messaging you and you got to go see them, the cooking, the cleaning, the whatever it is. If you have pets, it's like, gotta take them out, gotta feed them, gotta whatever it is. There's so much. There's such a mental, like, just a heavy load as a person, and now you're adding a business on top of that. So, yeah, that's so
Yeah.
true.
Yeah,
That is
and
so true.
decision fatigue, like, it's real. It's real, it's
Yeah.
underrated. And there's also shame in that plays a huge role in all of that.
Mm,
You have so many things that you need to decide on, and if you allow your ego to be a part of this, you have a hard time asking for help. You have a hard time reaching out to mentors or other people to say, hey, like, I'm really in big trouble, I don't know what to do, I'm stuck, because now you have built some type of brand and a name for yourself. And because you don't ask for help, because you're allowing shame to to block you, the issue continues. You're in the same cycle and you're never able to exit it. And another item with the whole like mental load and burnout is not being able to not being able to how do we put this? or not knowing, because there's not an ability thing. It's not knowing when to stop and what activity to stop, restart, or continue. And that is part of that mental load, because, which brings us to another point of the acronym. But because you don't know, you are new to business, you are new to this whole game of entrepreneurship, you don't know what activities are causing your bottlenecks, and you don't know what you need to start to offer relief, or to bring you um to a place of recovery, so that you can show up again in your business powerfully. So what I'm referring to, for example, um, is ways to self manage, ways to, how do you decide? Like, what is your system and framework of what tactic, what strategy you decide in this season of your business? And all of those things, again, lead to a massive mental load that becomes a huge barrier. Hmm.
Yeah. So when someone is like struggling with that, is there a certain thing that you recommend they do, or like one place to start to try to figure out like where their priorities are, or what can be kind of put on the side, what's like urgent, what's not urgent for now, or is there something that you kind of recommend to people where they can start when you see like, oh, okay, this is like many things are might be blocking you right now in that
Hmm.
mental space, in that mental place.
Yeah, there are two ways to go about it. And first of all, number one, it's not about the new business owner, the entrepreneur does not lack knowledge, they lack implementation. So there's two ways about that. There's the longer route and the shorter route. The longer route is teach yourself how to implement self leadership tactics and methods, which is that internal dialogue that I explained, for example, before. That
Hmm.
is part of self leadership. That is a mechanism, that is a method that you can learn. I'm giving an example. So the longer
Yeah.
route is to go and learn how to manage your decision making, learn business foundations, go back into basics, understand to read your business as a dashboard and not as an extension of yourself. So that is one. But again, it goes back into you're doing it yourself. Method number one
Mm.
takes longer. Number two, and not asking for help and then having no support, not, yeah, all those things. And the other two is seeking to be held accountable. And that involves seeking mentors, seeking community, and allowing others in your world to help you implement. So, because there's no one recipe or one secret method to grow a business, you might need multiple different tactics to grow your business when you're stuck. So, when you are in that place, the fastest way is to get mentorship, to get coaching, to get support about implementation. No more knowledge. Like, you know what to do, and because you know all of these different tactics work, that's why you're in the
Yeah.
place where you are now, because you have tried to apply all of them. And you know all of these
Mm.
work because that's true. All of those things work. But what you don't know, what you lack, is which one to implement. And the fastest way to discover it is to get an expert opinion, is to go and hire a brand strategist. Like, you have to, that's the fastest way. That's
Yeah.
what I would suggest. Get help. That's it. There's
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, and I think, well, I know I did this too. And maybe I still do this sometimes. Like, it's just this thought that, because me, when I had when I saw that, like, wow, I'm really hyper, and I feel like this is a lot of women struggle with this idea of hyper independence, is the idea that I can do it. I have the tools. I'm able. All these things that, girl power, thanks Spice Girls, all of these things and like other influences. It's like, yeah, I can do it. I can manage. And then we take on so much and now we're carrying all this stuff and now we're resentful because no one's helping you, but it's like, well, you didn't first of all, you didn't ask for help. So, people aren't mind readers. And yeah, we just take on all of this load without asking for help because we think I can do it. I'm boss babe, like you said, I'm independent woman, all of these things. So, yeah, and I think it ended up touching. Maybe we should talk about A because you kind of was talking about accountability in that too. So, should we talk about A and then we'll talk about B last, which I love
Yeah,
B.
yeah. And also, I want to add to your point
Hmm.
that sometimes it is because we believe we're supposed to do it by ourselves. Not
Yeah,
because we're ashamed or shy, it's because we think we're supposed to do it by ourselves. Because we
true.
think now that I'm a solopreneur, I need to be solo in discovering all the answers as well. We don't think
Yeah.
there is any other way. And yeah, so we can talk about accountability. So willpower and vision are not systems. Willpower and vision are not systems. And that is something that I try to teach to my clients. Most people try to negotiate with themselves when they
Hmm.
start a business and when they're building the muscle and the mechanisms to create consistency and discipline. You negotiate with yourself at night when you know you have to wake up tomorrow in the next day to jump on a sales call, and at night you negotiate, should I stay and hang out with my friend, or should I go and scroll a bit more on TikTok, or should I just you know just go to bed right now and be rested. Like, you constantly negotiate. And to succeed, you cannot negotiate. You cannot rely on willpower. And you need to do what? You cannot rely on your willpower. You cannot rely on just your vision, on the goal setting that you did once a year on that beautiful vision board that you build on your cell phone. What you need to do is you need to build an accountability system, an accountability operating system. And that involves having a community or a coach or a partner or a buddy that does not let you mess up, does not let you does not let you what's the word I'm looking for, like, um you've made commitments and
Um,
promises to yourself, does not let you break those promises to yourself.
mm,
Usually when you pay someone to do this, it is easier, because you've paid them and there is no friendship or um, involved. No feelings usually get hurt. I mean, your feelings might get hurt, but it's
mm,
easier when it's more of a transactional or professional relationship. But you can do this for
yeah.
free too. And it starts with, yes, you need to learn how to build that accountability through courses, through it could be free courses, through coaching, through content. But the accountability system and framework is a neurological OS, operating system. It's a neurological operating system. Um, and it evolves as the business and the entrepreneur evolves. So the habits and the systems and the muscles that I have built at the very beginning need to constantly evolve as I am also growing and scaling my business. So first is learning what are those habits. It can be free content, or hire a coach, a strategist, a partner, or an accountability buddy. And then it's putting them in practice. And you have to do it
Mm,
one at a time, stack one habit at a time. Do you see that you suck at going, holding yourself accountable to the schedule that you set for the next day? How can you fix that? First of all,
mm,
read Atomic Habits. That's one of the best books on how to build habits.
mm,
And you build what? You start building on just, you need to just work on discipline. How will you build discipline? Just for the sake of this example, you stack you find another habit which you're very disciplined on. Maybe every morning you go and, I don't know, get your coffee every morning. It might not be a work related, a business related discipline habit, but you're already disciplined about making coffee. So the key and the shortcut is to stack another habit with that first consistent habit that you've already built. So maybe next to your coffee machine, maybe you have, I don't know, your tablet that has a timer, and
Mm,
it's, I don't know, what pops up is like a message that says time to work, I don't know, or it pops up, there's a YouTube
yeah.
message that now gives you a sales motivational speech, I don't know, just so that to get you in the grind of, okay, now it's time for me to learn how to sell. I'm giving you an example. So
Okay.
hopefully I'm not overcomplicating this with my little tangent, but stacking habits is one way to create accountability, to build that muscle.
That's interesting because when I think of accountability, I always think that it's like a outside, it's like an external
Mm.
thing that has to make me or keep me on track. But I love these other options of like you create a system of, like you said, a system of accountability that that is the thing that's going to keep you on track. It's not necessarily a outside external force, but it's just like an inside, like an internal decision where you've actually created a system to keep you accountable. So I really love that perspective because I never think of it like that. I never
Mhm.
think of it like I can also with certain tools keep myself accountable. So that's so
Totally.
cool. That's really interesting.
And it starts,
Um,
like I mentioned, if we're not aware that accountability can be internal, it starts with external. And the fastest way to get
mm,
accountable is to have an external party, a coach, a
yeah,
buddy, uh, ideally not a friend, usually. Again, depends on the relationship that you have, but
yeah,
people who are unbiased and people who
yeah,
will not be affected if you get hurt hearing the hard truth, which is you didn't do your work, you didn't show up. And that is
yeah,
why hiring people helps, that external accountability. If you don't know the mechanisms of building accountability, of building self leadership, of building self control, that's what it's all about. It's about self control, it's about self leadership
mm,
to develop that accountability. And method number one, external, once you know the mechanisms and now you've gotten the knowledge, maybe from a coach, maybe from a strategist, maybe from your YouTube classes, courses, maybe from reading Atomic Habits. Now, then you can practice that muscle yourself with different mechanisms. And to summarize, the best mechanism is to stack habits, new habits on top of habits that you already have. Whether it's usually
mm.
on the positive ones, we should stack them. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
so good. I know for me in my life, it's I had an accountability partner that I met in a group coaching, and it was I would have stopped doing my I know for a fact that I would have stopped doing my business a long time ago if I hadn't had her at the beginning and we were growing together.
Yeah,
So
there you
yeah,
go.
that's
There you go.
amazing. And now I've built my own accountability system where I'm like very strict on this day, this time I'm doing this. So yeah, just to say that, yeah, I can see how it grows and evolves as you do. So that's
Hmm.
amazing. And B, we
Yeah.
kind of went all over the place, but that's just how I like to live my life.
Yeah, we just did it
All over the
organically.
place. Yeah, exactly. And that's always the best way. And so B, I love B. I love what B stands for, but
Yeah.
let's talk about, yeah,
Be
because this is like, wow, who, I mean, I'll raise my hand. I don't even know what you're going to say. I'm raising my hand because I know I do it.
busyness versus business.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, I mean, we can understand what it means, but essentially, activity, action, being busy is not the same as progress. We know what
Mm,
it means in theory, but then how do we get better at it? The issue, this barrier stems from lack of a business acumen, which most new entrepreneurs and business owners do not have because they were solo providers. And if you happen, and the reason why I know this, it's not because one day I woke up and I know, it's because I used to lead departments. So a department in a organization is almost like a microcosm, a micro world of a business. Multiple different areas in that department had to be managed by me: operations, marketing, staffing, HR, finances, budgeting. So I happen to come from that world, and that's why it is it's been organic for me to just transition into coaching, because it is just a natural progression of what I used to do. But for the majority of people who don't come from that background, it is natural that they do not have the business acumen, because nobody teaches you how to run a business. Everybody teaches you how to act like a business owner, but nobody teaches you how to run it.
Yeah.
And
Mm,
busyness
true.
versus business, you run a business when you realize that the purpose of a business is making money. A lot of business owners identify with their craft, with the service or the product they provide. They are so passionate about it. They're experts and masters of that craft. But because of their belief system, because they don't identify themselves as salespeople, as marketers, as business owners, I'm not a salesy person, then you block yourself from operating as the other 50% of what is required for this business to survive, which is you need to have the hat on of you need to literally pay attention to your dashboard, your finances. If you don't have clients, you don't have a business. If you don't have revenue, you don't have a business. Even if you have incorporated a nice, beautiful, sexy name with Canada Revenue, you don't have a business. Even if you have a bank account, like we have it,
Yeah.
we we are not taught this. And that's why
Mm.
I feel so passionate about it. I'm not mad at people. I am just really passionate. Just like my heart goes, okay, like if you're not focused on making money, you don't have a business. So if you're finding on every single day, your biggest focus is everything else but making money, you don't have a business. Like that's it. That's it. So
Mm.
that's the summary of busyness versus business.
Yeah, I think it's because we want to do the fun part. We just want to do the the parts that are fun, like at a certain point, at a certain point, a lot of people hate to create content. But that's fun at some point. Oh, I'm just going to set this thing up. That's fun. But to do income generating activities, that's not sexy. That's not fun. And so we kind of just think, well, I'll do the bits around it because they need to be done anyway. And then we kind of forget because, yeah, we have a name, we have an account or whatever it is, and we feel like, well, that makes it
A
legit. I'm
business. Yeah.
done now.
Yeah.
I have a
Yeah.
business. But yeah, it's so true what you're saying. We tend to focus on we think the busyness makes it a
A
business, but
business. Yeah.
that's not
And
accurate.
you know what? I also believe it's not only because we want to do the fun part and because we are procrastinators or lazy. That's not it. I mean, sometimes yes, but I think most of it is because we're not taught what makes a business
Yeah,
a
true.
business. What
That's
makes
true.
a business is clients. If you don't have clients, if you don't have money coming in, even if it's $1, if you don't have money coming in, you do not have a business. And that's it. It's point final. Like if I were to give the summary to anyone when you're trying to figure out, am is what I'm doing the right thing? Ask yourself, is what you're doing right now directly leading into you making money? At the beginning, your biggest goal is to make money. And there's obviously like different
Yeah.
mechanisms, it's not just sales, right? Like through branding, you need to figure out how to make money. Like there's different
Yeah.
mechanisms, core foundations, core branding mechanisms, core sales foundations, core social media PR foundations that lead directly to money. So focus on that.
Yeah.
And I also want to mention on that topic that um, it also requires training. It requires training. It's not something that you're born. You can learn it on the job, meaning your business. You can learn it over time. But hopefully you will learn it soon enough before you go bankrupt, before you get so deep in the hole that you lose all hope of this business, of this dream, because
Yeah.
there is a cost of inaction. People think, oh, I'm not making money, but I'm also not losing money. Well, you are 100% losing money. Just because you're not paying a subscription, you're losing money. The economy every single year inflates by, I think it's 9%. So
Hmm.
every single year that you're not making money, that you're not just making money, but that you're not reaching and you're not increasing your income by 9%, how do you think you're going to be able to keep up with the rest of the world and the market and your responsibilities? And that's where this is a very broad and simplistic way of saying that there is a cost of inaction. There is a cost of you not making
Yeah.
money.
Yeah,
And,
definitely.
and I try
Definitely.
to instill that to my clients who want to do the nice things and the cute things. The cute things are stress relieving because they're nice. It's the craft. But it goes back to
Hmm.
identity collision. Remember, your identity, yes, that is who you are, your craft, beautiful things, you're a creative person. But remember, that's only 50%. The other 50% is your business, which is a separate entity for you. And you have a responsibility to make sure it survives, because if you want your dream, your talents to impact and serve other people, you have a responsibility to bring it to life. And by not taking action, by not catering to this and these separate entities' needs for survival, you're actually being irresponsible towards that mission and that vision you have. And it goes back to separating the 2. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. As you're talking, I'm like, whoa. Basically, we were bigging each other up before, like, you got to work with Yoni, you got to work with Ma. They have to work with both of us because it's like you're saying, like that identity piece, which is like the part that I love is like to figure out like what is this? What is this vision? What is this mission? Who are you and how does what you do help other people? What are you here to do? And then when you figure that out, you go see Yoni and she's going to give it to you straight. Now she's going to tell you how to make money from what I told you.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
um yeah, so that's it. But wow, like so cool. Like thank you so much for coming on, for sharing, for just like yeah, just giving some perspective shifts, because I'm thinking of things differently now, like certain things that I'm like, "Oh, okay. Why didn't I think of it like that? Why didn't I consider that?" So, thank you so much for coming on. Is there any last like things that you have on your heart that you think, you want to leave people with, or anything that's you're just remembering now you wanted to say, or anything that you want to share with people, like just so that they remember um something that they can remember and take away?
Mm. The motto in my business is think like a leader and execute like a CEO. I don't help people build just businesses. I help people build economic independence. And what I want whoever is listening to walk away with is, once you fix the person, you will be able to fix the business.
Mm, wow, that's
Mm.
so good. Again, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for everyone who watched. We're gonna put like all the details, how you can reach Yoni, how you can follow her, how you can work with her. All of those details are gonna be in the description below. And just thank you again for coming on. And I'll end it with what I always say is um, that I just really encourage people, and I hope that people live with heart, lead with purpose, and do both compromise free. Until next time, bye.
Bye.